So the Church of Christ was all over, but I always picture it like McDonald's. How many McDonald's are there?
Oh man, millions.
Millions, somebody say. But then the question arises, but how many McDonald's are there?
One.
Only one. Only one. And you know what? They all sell the same thing.
Sure does.
If I was going to get a Big Mac,
Russia.
there's only one place I can go. I can't go to Wendy's. I can't go to Burger King. I can't. There's only one. Now they're all over the world, but they all wear the same name.
That's right.
And they all sell the same. When it comes down to Christ's church, I believe he wanted us all to wear the same thing.
Right.
And he wanted us all to teach the same thing. That Jesus said, upon this rock I will what?
Build my church.
I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. All right, so we know we only built one church. But in Romans 16 and verse 16, the Bible says, salute one another with a holy kiss. The churches of Christ do what? Salute you. In other words, basically what Paul is saying is that there were congregations in all over the area, but he recognized them all as to be churches of Christ.
Right.
Well, that's plurally. They will be the churches of Christ individually. Each one would be a church of Christ.
Right.
Now, someone said, well, what? Well, you're trying to say what's in the name? Well, what is in the name?
A lot.
What is in the name?
Everything's.
You know, the Bible says in the same chapter that we're talking about that God had highly exalted his name and given him a name above every name that is named, not only in this world but also in that which is to come. Christ is elevated. His whole persona, everything about Christ is better than us.
That's
the
right.
church is said, he that loveth his wife does what?
Loveth himself.
Loveth himself. Remember that. Remember that. He says in verse 29, for no man ever yet hated his own flesh, but nourished and cherished it, even as the Lord, the what?
Church.
The church.
Good.
Remember, he that loveth his wife, loveth what? Himself. He says, for this cause, verse 31, shall a man leave his father and mother, and shall be joined unto his wife. And they two shall be what?
One flesh.
One flesh. This is a what kind of mystery?
Great mystery.
Great mystery. But I speak concerning Christ, and I'm really talking about Christ
And the church.
and his church. So what was he talking about in that example? He was talking about loving. So then we're talking about Christ loves his church as himself. Isn't that what he was saying?
Right.
That a husband ought to love his wife what? As his own self. And so Christ loves the church.
Himself.
When he talks about the idea of how we ought to have a relation one with another, he's saying, I have that relationship with the church. We need to love Christ like Christ loves us. The church is something special. It was designed before the foundation of the world. It was in the mind of God that we would not be divided. He said, let there be no divisions among you, but you be perfectly joined together in the same mind and in the same judgment. I want you to be one, but I want you all to be one in location. I want you to all to be one in that the church is my body. It's my body. I mean, there is no part of my body that you can hurt that my head is not concerned about.
That's right.
I mean, there's no part of my body. You talk about, you say, well, I'm going to find the smallest part on the body. I'm going to hit his little toe. I'm lying to scream louder. You know, there is no part of my body that is not extremely significant and important to my head. Well, if that's true of my physicality, then I know that is true when it comes down to Christ's spirituality.
That's right.
Christ is concerned about each and every member of the body of Christ.